Hi, my name is LaTisha. Welcome to my channel. I've gotten a lot of questions about what a typical day looks like for me. Since I'm a self-employed entrepreneur, an online business owner, I work for myself and I work from home. So I decided to create a short video on a day in my life. Please be sure to subscribe and give it a like if you liked it. I'm starting the vlogs. I'm on my way into CrossFit and I decided that I would take you along for a day in the life. So let me take you back just a little bit, show you how the day typically starts, and then I'll catch back up with you after CrossFit, after I've showered, and once I'm ready to start working, all right? I start the day with meditation and prayer, quiet reflection, and journaling. So typically what I do is there's a playlist on YouTube that I like. It's essentially a meditation playlist. It's one that has some isochronic tones, and I'll play that, and sometimes I just do straight meditation, sometimes I do journaling as well. Then I get dressed and put my shoes on and head out the door for CrossFit. Before I walk out the door, I check Wodify to see what we're doing that day. I usually like to find out if we're doing something crazy. For example, this day we're doing 100 burpees per time, so I kind of mentally prepare for that. Then I head out the door, I grab my water, which I already prepared the evening before, and I grab my shake. In my shake, it's typically just some protein, creatine, and some simple sugar. Now at this point it's about 5:45, and then as I drive to CrossFit, which only takes me about 15 minutes, I typically listen to one of my other favorite YouTube audios by Abraham Hicks, and these are just kind of motivational audios. Then I do my good morning on Instagram. Good morning. Good morning. You're probably familiar with these if you follow me on Instagram, and every morning at 6 a.m. I'm there without fail. I do CrossFit from Monday through Thursday, and then I have my rest days on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So I didn't get any footage today of what I do during CrossFit, but I do have several clips from other days, so I decided to just kind of put together a quick compilation to give you an idea of what I do during CrossFit. Alrighty, well I am done with CrossFit. After I get done with CrossFit, I obviously head back home, but on the way back home in the car, I usually listen to, sometimes I'll listen to podcasts, but typically I grab one of my trainings that I've purchased. I'll listen to this in increments on the way back, so that since today's Monday, and then this is really hard to hold right now because we did push-ups today and my shoulder is shaking. So I'm gonna get off this camera, head back home, and then I'll show you what we do next. Okay.
With me based on, it's all about online marketing, or it's all about online sales. That was the main reason to do it back that way. Whatever you need, we tune into what's going on below, making the most money out of part of doing well in next.
It's time for breakfast. So as soon as I get back from CrossFit, typically what I'll do is I kind of go through and empty the dishwasher. At this point, I'm still trying to be relatively quiet because sometimes my husband is still asleep. I usually get back from CrossFit around 7:15 or 7:30, and he doesn't have to be at work until 9 o'clock. Now, for those of you who do follow my Instagram stories, you know that I have the exact same breakfast every single day. Now, I love chocolate, and chocolate chip pancakes are my very favorite thing to have. Now, these are chocolate chip protein pancakes that I often have. I measure out the exact same amount. I measure out the exact same amount of chocolate chips, and I eat these every single day. The only time that I won't have these is number one, on days where I'm not working out, or number two, I likely won't have them if I'm doing some sort of cleanse and I'm trying to kind of stay away from wheat or something like that. But other than that, I really enjoy having these every single morning. Then usually by that time, it's almost time for my husband to get up, so I'll typically make his coffee. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but on this day I did decide to make his coffee. It's funny because he actually said, "You need to show them that you make my coffee," and I do. So I know exactly how he likes his coffee, so I'll often go ahead and make his coffee so that you know, he has his coffee ready, and it makes him really excited. He really loves when I do that. So after breakfast, I'll do, you know, the dishes from breakfast and clean up the kitchen. Sometimes I will wash clothes, and so this will be the time where I'll go and get clothes and go wash the clothes and basically do housework. So anything kind of around the house that I need to do. My goal is to get into the office by 9 a.m. and I'm pretty much on track to do that every morning. By the time I finish my breakfast, my husband heads off to work. It's usually about 8:45, and then by the time I finish the little things I need to do, we're at about 9 a.m. So then at 9 a.m. I am up, I'm in my office. I have the upstairs bonus room, which is essentially a finished attic, and this is where I have my office. So I've got my little studio space in the back, I've got my money tree, and I have my my computer, which is essentially where I do all of my work. Good morning, happy Monday. I have already gotten the day started. I've been in the office since 9 already. I had a sales call. Then I'll usually do an Instagram story to, you know, just say hey to you guys. All of you who follow me on Instagram, you know that I'm on there chatting and kind of telling you what I'm doing during the day. Now, the next things that happen really depend on what that day is. I open my calendar and I look to see kind of what I have going on that day. I'll also check messages because I often get requests from people who want to work with me one-on-one via Messenger. Absolutely. So there are a couple of options that we have when it comes to one-on-one. And this is an example of that. So I had a potential client who contacted me via Facebook Messenger, and all I did was kind of record and tell her a little bit more about my one-on-one options, and that very same day she booked and became one of my high ticket one-on-one clients.
A lot of times I get the question, well,
some of the other things that I could potentially do is update programs and course offerings. So on this day, I was actually editing some videos for 30 Days to Client Praise, which is one of my signature programs. Sometimes have calls during the day. It just really depends on what the day looks like, but I get a good chunk of work done from between 9 a.m. and about 11:30 a.m. So around 11:30 or around 12 o'clock, depending on what's on the calendar, but usually I have this time already blocked off, I head downstairs and I make lunch. Now, one of my favorite things to do is to actually have a fresh lunch. When I used to work full-time, I always loved bringing my lunch because I love the food that I cook, but I couldn't always enjoy it the way that it really came out of the oven, right? Like hot and fresh. So that's one of the things that I love the most about working for myself and working from home, is that I am able to make fresh food all the time. So in this case, I'm making sweet potato fries, chicken and kale. it's time for me to get out of the house. It's around 3 o'clock. Usually around this time is when I have my second lunch of the day. So I typically eat like 5 meals a day. 3 o'clock is usually when I eat again. However, it's also the time when if I need to get out of the house, I get out and do what I need to do, because this is right before everybody else gets off of work, and so it's a perfect time to like get out of the house, go do the shopping or whatever I need to do. So we actually need a couple things from Costco. So I am headed to Costco to go grab a couple things that we need, and then I will likely eat once I get back after I make my grocery run. After my grocery run, I'm back in the office. This is the time when I start kind of cleaning up any little projects. I make sure that I'm finished with everything that I wanted to finish for that day. And I like to not have any extra tabs open or anything that makes me feel like there's something that's pending or something that I didn't do. So I'll shut all that down, and then I will head back downstairs, and that is essentially the end of my day.
Yeah. Sit back, just relax and play. I think I'll be doing that today. Put all the worries of the past away. I think I'll be doing that.
Now from there, obviously I have a little bit of an evening routine, and that is kind of cleaning anything up that I didn't get to. So sometimes I don't do the dishes at lunchtime, but I always like to make sure that I do have a clean home when my husband comes home, because he really does like that. He really enjoys that. So at this point, sometimes I'll make dinner. So in this case, I'm making sweet potato fries again. My husband stopped at the local barbecue store and he picked up brisket. So tonight we just had veggies, sweet potato, and brisket, and that's the end of the day. After we get done eating dinner, I usually just kind of hang out in the office with him. I will play a video game, or I'll read a book, or I'll do anything that's really not related to business. Like I typically try not to do extra studying or anything that gets my mind active, because then I'll be back up in the office and trying to work again. So I have to force myself not to work because I enjoy it so much, but I definitely need that time to recharge and relax. I end the day by lighting a candle and getting well rested for the next day so that I can do it all over again at 5 a.m. So thanks so much for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed this day in the life. I do plan on making more vlog style videos, just kind of taking you behind the scenes and sharing my life with you. If that's something that you're interested to see, please comment below, let me know. Also, be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.